Hi everybody, it's Nick. I hope you're all well. I wanted to vlog today on the fact that I think the narratives we tell ourselves can be so binary and black and white, and driven very much from things that are drummed into us from childhood and from the world that we live in. We can often miss the real reasons and actually the real truth that's very often stood in front of us. So I'll give you an example, because that all sounds quite abstract, doesn't it? So I've struggled, or I perceive that I have struggled, and I've told myself this narrative and these stories that I've had a toxic relationship with money, and I've wasted lots of money, and I'm an addict, and all of these very negative things around the whole concept of money. And I've sat with this problem for so long, and I've looked at it from every which way, and I've turned it around, and I've tried different techniques, and I always end up at the same place. And there's been a real shift for me this week. So two things happened. One is I read Einstein's quote. I won't get the words exactly right, but it goes along the lines of, you cannot solve a problem with the same kind of thinking that created the problem in the first place. And that really, there was something about that quote that really stopped me in my tracks, and I kind of went, wow, there's something really in that. I need to think about what that means. And the second thing was I was reading The Code of the Extraordinary Mind by Vishen, I can't remember his second name, the founder of Mind Valley, this week. The thing that stuck in my mind, the big thing from that was he talks about the culture scape, which is basically the world that we live in, the reality that we're born into. And he talks about rules, which are basically a set of bullshit rules. And he talks about working out absolute truth from a more subjective truth. I mean, he talks about an awful lot, but these are just some of the key things. And I guess I've been, I don't know if ruminating is the right word, but I've been sitting and just thinking about this, and it's been on my mind a lot of late, because particularly in lockdown, people have been saying, oh, you know, so loads of money in this, and I'm just sat here thinking, fuck, I've spent loads more than normal for a variety of reasons, and I'm starting to get really stressed about it all again. And then this old narrative's coming into my head about, oh, you know, you must be a bad person, you're an addict, you've got to take responsibility for your actions, this has got consequences for other people, and it's really not a very nice way. And I'm like thinking, shit, if somebody was sat in front of me telling me that they'd, I don't know, spent whatever I'd spent and all the rest of it, would I really speak to them like that? That's point one. I know I wouldn't. I would show them far more kindness and compassion than I actually show myself. We're always our own worst critics, aren't we? And that's really where the whole self-acceptance thing comes in. But then taking this whole concept of, there's no point trying to solve this problem, you know, with the same thinking that created it, I kind of stepped back and I thought to myself, actually the reason why it's not solvable is not all of it's a problem. So it's all got mixed up, and lots of things have got mixed up in there. So there are some reasons why I spend money, which are really, really good reasons. And they're coming from a very deep, intuitive, good place. They're not coming from fear or scarcity. They're coming from, you know, a real gut instinct and a real desire to create joy and love and lots of things. And those things might manifest themselves in terms of, you know, the way I will absolutely push, and I will push and I will huff, and whatever that thing is that you say. And I'm really, really innovative, and I'm really creative. And actually, I can say this, and I think we should be able to own our strengths. And I think it's something that we can feel embarrassed to talk about. But I am really, really good at being innovative and creative when we book our family holidays. I book lots of them. We never go on a packaged holiday. We always create our own thing. We always go off the beaten track, and we always have some really, really brilliant adventures. And yes, of course, that costs money. But you know what? I have no regrets whatsoever. And a good example of that is yesterday I took the kids. It was a trial day at the lake where I do swim. It's in lockdown at the minute, but that's hopefully going to be ending in the next few days. And we were doing a trial day yesterday, family day, where, you know, you've got all of the kayaks and paddle boards and inflatable boards and whatever as well. And yeah, you know, it's quite expensive because, one, it's an amazing place, but also it's very, very labour intensive to be able to do this with all the social distancing measures. And I paid for us to go. And no, if I looked at a budget, I would say, no, I couldn't really afford it. It wasn't really in this month's budget. But I made a very, very conscious decision that I was going to pay and I was going to take us anyway, because I consciously decided that the value and the benefit we would get from that far outweighed the fact that it was probably more than I could afford this month. And it wasn't really the difference when I put food on the table or not, thank God, which I'm very blessed for. Now that to me, that's not a bad thing. I'm not ever going to think that's a bad thing. And we had the most amazing time. I just can't tell you how much fun we had. There was one point actually where my middle son was on a paddleboard, and he's got the most amazing sense of humour. And he says, "Do you want to get on the paddleboard with me, Mum?" I'm like, yeah, all right then. I get on the paddleboard, of course, I get on the paddleboard with him at the back, and it starts to sink, and all you can hear as Harry's going down, like the Titanic, this paddleboard was not good, not good, not good. Honestly, it's just fantastic. Another way, so there's lots of adventures and things that we've done which we wouldn't have done if I had not been really ballsy and gone, no, we will find a way. We'll book it and we will do it, and then we will find a way to sort the figures out. Because we do live in this, I was brought up with this narrative of, you don't buy what you can't afford, and, being in debt's a really shameful thing, and blah, blah, blah. And sometimes you just need to push. I'm not advocating that people go out and behave irresponsibly and get in shitloads of debt, 'cause it's a horrible place to be, believe me. But on the other hand, there are some times where, your gut instinct, you do need to listen to it, and you do need to push these kind of man-made rules, because if things are coming from the right place, in a place of love, it works well. Now, on the other hand, and this is where the real problem does occur with my spending and debt that I built up over the years, is two things. One is when it's for distraction. It's when I'm bored and it's for distraction, and there's stuff that I don't want to sit with, and there's stuff that I don't want to look at. And that's a little bit like, I tell you what, I'll buy some nice new curtains for the house, and then I won't be able to see the fact that the paint and the window is cracking and the windows are rotting. Because actually what I really need to do is solve the windows and stop the wood rotting, not buy new curtains. It's that kind of distraction, and that is a metaphor for what I do personally. And the second thing is it comes from a fear of not having enough, a fear of not being able to have that, not being able to afford it, of it running out, of it not being there. And that's definitely steeped from, I guess my childhood experiences, and the fact that we didn't grow up with any money. And it's really interesting that, I've been trying to solve this as one big problem, but it's not one big problem. It's several different things, and it does require different thinking. And so I need to start testing myself when I'm going to spend money. And I think the reason I'm showing this is it might be an approach that helps with all kinds of things, but for me, money is a big thing in terms of having a healthier relationship with it and creating more abundance in my life. Because I do believe that, if you make decisions from love and from the right level of consciousness, somehow, and I've found this all the way through my career, of the times when I've made really big money, it's been from some offshoot, something that I haven't seen coming, not the thing that, I've been working my arse off for. But I'm going to apply this technique, which is, very much about, hang on a minute, where's this really coming from? Are you distracting yourself from some uncomfortable truth, from something you're trying to avoid? Are you doing this because you are scared and there's a fear that's behind this? Or is this coming from a good place? Is this coming from love? Is this coming from no, this is just great, and it's going to create such a richness of experience, and it's the right thing to do, and somehow I just know that I'll find a way to be able to do this, and that's what I wanted to say. And I think that Einstein quote really summarized it for me, and I think the book, The Code of the Extraordinary Mind, really encapsulated it for me. Not everything that's around us is really right or wrong. It can be quite a subjective truth, and there can be a lot of bullshit in there. And I think it's up to each and every one of us to really be able to sit with our own truths and to learn to listen to our instinct. And there's just really something about not to use the same thinking to solve the problem that created it in the first place. So this is my new thing that I am going to be doing. Another epiphany today this is my new system that I am going to be applying to any investment or, spending money decisions that I'm making. Is it coming from a place of love, or is it coming from a place of fear? One gets a tick in the box and yes, and one gets a cross in the box and no. And I'm going to see how those actions start to change the flow of things, I guess. I hope that's of help. Much love. Bye.